guys, welcome to the Astro collaboration event. So we actually all processed the same data. So me and Nico took some narrowband data. Nico took the S2 and O3 and I took the HA. So in this live stream, we're going to show you that data. We're going to do some Q&A at the very end of this live stream. All right, let's get started. So we first are going to introduce our guest. We have Nico Carver here from Nebula Photos. He is an awesome astrophotographer, and he also helped me a lot with my astrophotography journey, and he's one of my favorite astro YouTubers. Then here's Erich. He is an awesome astrophotographer. He creates some awesome 3D animations, and all sorts of stuff.
What do you use, Erich, to make your animations?
I have been using Motion Leap. There's an app called Motion Leap, which and I use an iPad. I have an iPad Pro, and I have a stylus, and then I use that to create the direction that I want something to flow. And with some practice, I've got it to be pretty seamless, where you can tell that it looks pretty professional. I really like the idea of not just having a photo, but actually having a photo be kind of come alive and be animated. I've seen some cool animated stuff on Instagram and stuff, but it's sort of got me thinking about other ways to do that. But I like the idea of not just creating a photo, but doing more than that and making it more exciting and more real. So yeah. I have to do more of that stuff, but I really I don't spend that much time on it, but when I do, and there's something that kind of looks like it would be the right fit for it, I'll do it. And also I like doing compositions where you have a mountain, and other people used to do it. They have a mountain and they'll have something in the background and it's all together in one. It's a lot of fun to do that. So I love being creative with it, because I think astrophotography is one of those things that if you have a creative side, that allows you to do that, because there's really no rules to some degree. So that's what's fun for me.
So you guys ready to get to the first image?
Sure.
All right, so who wants to go first? I don't care who goes first. Erich, you want to go first?
Not really, but I don't.
Well, I guess I'll go first then.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's my image of the North American Nebula.
Yeah, awesome.
All right, so there it is. So what are you guys' thoughts on it?
It's nice. A lot of color variety. I like how you have some magentas in the blue. It's really nice.
Yeah, there's some different colors in there. I definitely like the magenta in there, because I've seen a lot of versions of it, but I haven't seen that reddish purplish color in there. That's nice. Nice.
Yeah, what I noticed here, I just don't like how this looks, like the little lines. You know what that is, Nico? Why does it do that? See all these little lines in here?
Yeah. What did you used a noise reduction?
Yeah, a little bit. I was half tempted to use Topaz, but my computer is so slow because I have so many files on it. It's clear out my computer a little bit, but yeah. So I didn't use Topaz, but I did use a Photoshop camera raw filter.
See if when we bring up mine, if it has the same lines.
Since you already said that, I guess we should bring that one up next. So Nico, you want to show us your image? Wow, that is nice. Stars are nice and small. I like that, definitely.
So I think yours looked a little like a cooler color palette, and I think I went for a more warmer, bringing in a lot of reds maybe is the main difference. And then I rotated it this way just because I like seeing the North America North America, but I like it both ways, actually. Let me see if I can see those lines you were talking about. Yeah, I think I see them on mine too. I think it's probably just with the camera raw filter and not having a huge amount of data, it takes some of those noise patterns and makes them crunchy like that. But I think it looks pretty good zoomed out. So
I like that rotation. I was thinking about trying to rotate mine, but I left it because it's interesting how much just a little rotation changed the whole perspective of astrophotography images like that. So that's cool. I like that.
And then the other thing is I'm so used to now cropping to this vertical 4x5 for Instagram. I guess that's sort of my default
oh, really?
thing, just because if you're sharing on Instagram, this is the biggest you can make it on the phone. So I often sort of end up doing that.
That's definitely a great image. I like the color of it. I actually really like the color of it compared to mine a little bit, because yeah, I definitely like the color. I like this orangey in here, and then you have all the different colors of it. Definitely like this, as I already said, how small the stars are.
It started with a starless image, and then the stars are just the HA screened on top. So that's how I did the stars.
Oh wait, you use a starless version. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Starless version for just getting the color. So I can start adding these here.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on using. I didn't use the starless version in mine, but
cool,
that makes more sense, because you can just adjust those stars. Yeah, you can just like
Yeah,
adjust those, make them smaller. And actually, what I found very useful is the texture on Photoshop, like the texture in the camera raw folder. I usually turn down the texture slider, makes them so much smaller, the fainter ones. That's personally
mhm.
what I do. I like using that tactic. All right, you ready, Eric? And here is Eric's.
Great.
So this is what Eric got. I love he always for some reason makes some awesome images. And I like what he did with the Horsehead Nebula. He made it kind of more purple because I don't like when it is red, it kind of reminds me of hell. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, it looks a
freaks
little
me
evil
out.
like
But I love the colors Eric always puts in his images. They're just
that.
amazing.
Did a lot of versions, color versions, but I love the oxygen, the really blue colored palette people are getting out of oxygen. So I really tried hard to bring that out. And I didn't actually originally do it the way that I think you're supposed to do it, the proper way. Astro showed me the proper way to do the Hubble palette in Photoshop. So I kind of manually actually colored in the area and brought up the blue because I didn't know the proper way. And then I went back and learned the proper way, and I kind of did another version and then added another layer on top to get some more color. But I spent probably more time than I should have on that, but it was a lot of fun, man. I love processing astrophotography. It was actually, even though it wasn't my data, it was so much fun.
Yeah, looks
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I think all the images were awesome. I like everyone for different reasons. They're all really good. So the first question, this is going to be answered for everybody. What made you get into astrophotography? I think you kind of answered that.
Well, I actually thought that over, and so as a kid, I always wanted to, just never got a telescope. But I started watching this YouTuber Crow 777. I don't know if Nico's familiar with that guy, but he's one of he's I think the first one to shoot a lunar wave, which is still kind of a mystery. But he did a lot of footage of the moon, and he did this documentary called Shoot the Moon, and he was showing off his rig and then how he connected his camera to it. And when I saw that, I'm like, man, I have to figure out how to do that. That looks incredible. And so I first started off getting just a moon camera. So I got the Nikon P950 to start shooting the moon. And that took off, and I was having a blast. And I'm like, all right, that's it. And next step up, we get a telescope. So I got a Dobsonian and had a lot of fun with that, and got my feet wet with that, and that was fun. And I got a little bit of photography out of the Dobsonian, even though it's not tracked. And my first shot of Orion was incredible. It was just so neat to finally like see something like that pop out before your eyes, like magic to shoot off into space, and all of a sudden be like, wait a second, there it is. There's something that's what I'm looking for. It's like it's incredible to see something like that. Just kind of moving your telescope around in the dark, and then all of a sudden something pops up in your view, and it's a magical experience. So I got really hooked on it, and then I got ready on, and I just kept going from there. And hopefully, I get the go-to mount so I can really track some good shots. But yeah, man, it's just I think it's always been in my blood. I love doing it, so it's a lot of fun, man. It's great to share it with other people too. But to go to that, you can go to the dark sites and do the star parties. I got a little taste of that. Mostly old timers out there shooting, but still a lot of fun. So I love doing that stuff, man. It's at my age, I think the older you get, the better it gets because you just have more appreciation for life when you get a chance to see what else is out there and kind of takes your problems away, to be able to do that stuff. So that's what I love about it. It's like therapeutic.
Definitely.
What made you get into astrophotography?
I was on a trip to Iceland to see and shoot the Aurora Borealis, and I was really into time lapse photography at the time. And so then when I got home and saw the stars and the shots and everything, I just was like, I want to do more of this. So then I got into Milky Way, and then it just all went from there. So just kept doing more and more. And by the time I got to doing deep sky, I really felt like, oh, I actually like this even the most. So that was sort of when I found something I think that I'll stick with forever, is just like the shooting nebulae and all that is my favorite. So but it led in from Aurora and Milky Way and wide field stuff. Yeah.
Now, for me, I got into astrophotography mainly because Eric was into it. I was looking at Eric's images; they're all amazing, just blew me away. So, and also, I was just wanting a telescope back then. So I was just like, well, maybe I'll go look at these geyser telescopes on Amazon. They were crappy. I'm like, oh my gosh, these things are ridiculously like. Now that I know they're crappy for their price, even though they're sometimes more expensive, like they're really not a good choice. So I was like, maybe I should go get a telescope, like $100 one from Best Buy. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I was like, well,
Right.
maybe I should just look into other things before I look at that. So actually, I went to this website called optcorp.com, which is OPT telescopes. Because Eric told me about it. So when I went to OPT, there was these much better telescopes on there. I wanted just to get a visual. So mainly I started first looking at Mars, then Jupiter and Saturn. And about a year went by, and I was like, well, maybe I should just start getting into astrophotography as a whole, because then I started learning about how to do it and everything. So then I finally got my first DSLR, the Canon EOS Rebel T7. It's a great DSLR. That's actually the one I just used for taking the photo I just took of the North American Nebula and the data I gave you. So then after I got my DSLR, I was like, well, maybe I should get an intervalometer because Eric told me to. So I got an intervalometer. It was so much easier in that point. I was having a ton of fun. I was like taking pictures of like random star areas and stuff like that just with my DSLR and just kept taking pictures away and away. Didn't know anything about stacking until now or till way later. And then I decided to get my first lens, which was a Rokinon 135 millimeter, and get my first mount, which was the Ioptron Skygutter Pro. Those were great first starters for me, but I actually regret getting the Ioptron because I like the Skywatcher Star Adventure. And after I found out how much better it was, I felt like it was much better because for some reason, the Ioptron, it was always loose and sloppy. And I felt like the Skywatcher Star Adventure would be much better because I just didn't like it. So then I decided to upgrade my mount again because, of course, I had to because the thing was all sloppy and everything. So, yeah. And then I started getting a ton of images of Orion and everything. That was probably one of my first targets. But yeah, I actually haven't got any photos of the Milky Way yet, believe it or not. But what is your favorite piece of astro gear? So I'm going to ask Eric first again because this is the order we're going in. So what is your favorite piece of astro gear?
Yeah, I saw that question. And I thought top of my head, I have to say my Sony A7, even though it's it's outdated camera. It has some issues with picking up things. It's still amazing camera, especially for just doing Milky Way stuff. I mean, it's like it really makes the magic happen. And it's a full frame camera. So I did some research and I got it used on eBay, and it's been a really awesome camera. And I just upgraded to a modded Canon, but that thing has really been a great start for me just to really get into shooting the stars and picking up some astrophotography on the way too. So I think I'll hold on to it. It's been a good start for me. So that's it.
Alrighty. So, Nico, what's your favorite piece of astro gear?
I'll have to go with my Canon 200 millimeter telephoto lens. So it was one of the first. It was the first lens that I bought with sort of doing some deep sky imaging in mind, and the first image that I took with it was of the Witch Head Nebula, and that was like the first image where I was like, wow, I just was blown away by what I could get by going to a dark site and just using a normal DSLR and camera lens. And then I actually have kept that lens, and a lot of my favorite images were taken with it. The data that I provided for today was taken with that lens too. I just cropped down a bigger shot to provide that O3 and S2 data because I've found that it's pretty easy to adapt these mono cameras onto camera lenses, and I like doing that. So that lens has just been one of my favorites that I've ever used, and it's a lot of my favorite images, like I said, have been taken with that one.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of camera lenses do actually do really well, like the Rokinon I used to have did amazing. I mean, yeah, even though it's like I didn't like that it was wide field, so I don't know why I got rid of it, but yeah, it was really wide field. I didn't like that, but I love the sharpness of the stars, just how much detail got because it was f2 and everything. It was just awesome. Collected light really fast, so I didn't have to do long sessions like overnight. It was amazing. Just got so much detail out of it. What advice would you give to a very first starting astrophotographer, like a very beginner?
I guess make sure your starting equipment is good and get a good mount. They always say the mount's most important. I think for me, that's been the hardest part. Is I've been struggling with just a regular star tracker, not a go-to mount, and I think that's the mistake I made, is not upgrading yet, and that's holding me back, and I think it's really holding me back from a lot of opportunities. And so it's good to learn the sky. They say that it's good to learn to star hop and all that. So I got a Dobsonian first, hoping, because Trevor from Astro Backyard said it's a great place to start. So after my moon camera, I got the Dobsonian, and I kind of got a feel where things are in the sky. So I think that is a good thing to do, is to kind of get a good feel for where things are in the sky. That's a good place to start. That way you really appreciate what you're doing. But other than that, just to get a good mount, research your equipment, make sure you get a good mount to make it happen.
What would be your advice?
I'd say just make Astro friends, like you, Asher and Eric. You guys are sort of feeding off each other, and that's great. To learn with someone who's also learning it is, I think, the best way to do it. Because you'll learn a lot faster. You'll teach each other things. You'll get ideas, and so I think if you don't know anyone who's doing astrophotography, look for a local club. And a lot of times, these days, especially if you find a local club, there's going to be astrophotographers there. So I always find some astro friends to do it with.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because it's not as fun. The hobby is not as fun without friends. Definitely not. I mean, I met a few friends at Akron Astronomy Club I used to go to. Met a few friends there. Like, I don't know their names. I know Iran is the owner of it, but yeah, I met a few friends there. It was so much fun. I mean, it's just a fun thing to do. Go to star parties. I just love that. It just gets you so much knowledge. You get to go places and have fun. Go to dark site, camp out, talk to people. There's a lot of stuff to do there. A lot of fun. What is your favorite target to photograph, Eric?
Man, I want to say Horsehead Nebula, but I've only got a little bit of data on that, so I don't know. Orion's always been the easy target for me. I really had a lot of fun with Andromeda. I honestly, man, I can't pick one because I haven't had enough time to really choose a favorite. There's so many that I love to look at and I want to do. Orion is definitely the most magical, because when you take that picture, it just pops out and at you, and it's incredible, and especially when you're at a dark site, it's amazing to see how that nebula is crazy to look at. So I would say, if not the moon, Orion, because those are both so close and easy to see. Get the detail because they're easiest. I'll pick Orion or the moon. Favorites.
And you, Nico, what's your favorite target?
I like any kind of. I like supernova remnants. So anything that's like I like how they, we know that they just get bigger and bigger over time. So like M1, the Crab Nebula, is still pretty compact because that only blew up 1,000 years ago. But then there's these really old ones that are so much bigger in the sky, but then they're really dim, so they take a lot of time to capture them. So I really like just any kind of supernova remnant is my favorite, especially the Spaghetti Nebula is a really cool one.
These names are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look into that.
What is the Boogeyman Nebula? Boogeyman, boogie. Boogeyman. That one always cracks me up. But yeah, actually, one time I remember, speaking of those names, Trevor commented on one of my comments that I made on his video. He said, "What is wrong with these names?" I'm like, "Yep, exactly. These names are ridiculous. I don't even know why they name them this stuff. It just, I guess it represents them, but it's hilarious."
Well, a lot of the names were back before we were really doing much astrophotography. So, for instance, and a lot of them were actually named by amateurs. So it's like it might look that way through an eyepiece, but then once we get an image of it, it could look completely different. So a lot of the names are sort of strange today now that we're looking at photos of the objects. The Cave Nebula, for instance, really does look like a cave if you're looking at it through the eyepiece, but a photo of it I don't think really looks like a cave. So,
all right, guys. Well, do you guys have any questions? One person does. Favorite James Webb image? What is your favorite James Webb image, Eric?
The what is it? The quintet, or is that what they call it? Not the deep field.
Stefan's quintet.
Yeah, that one. I
Yeah.
like that one the best.
What about you, Nico?
I liked the first one they released, the gravitational lens. I thought that was it was a great one to release first to show the gravitational lensing and also all those background galaxies. It was a really cool one.
Yeah, I liked it was just incredible. The texture on those far away galaxies is just incredible. I think don't they use mosaics to do it though? Because it seems like they use like some sort of mosaic. They couldn't get that much texture on a galaxy from just a single field of view. They have to use like some sort of mosaic.
I think most of their images they've released so far, like you said, have been a mosaic because the field of view of the James Webb is pretty small. So to get that, they'd have to do a mosaic, which just means moving the telescope and putting several panels together. For instance, that one of the cosmic cliffs, the big nebula one, that was, I think, an eight panel mosaic.
Right. Yeah. Yep. That's pretty much, I think, what they did. So. All right. Well, what do you think about the Milky Way? I don't know. Milky Way is there.
There's a black hole. We know that.
It's hard to do from the city. You really need to get somewhere dark to do it justice. But it's also just if you ever have the chance, going somewhere dark, it's really cool to see it with your own eyes, to think about like where I'm seeing the into our own galaxy and all the plane of the galaxy. So it's definitely worth seeing if you haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I definitely want to see it. I'm thinking about going to what they call it, Cherry Springs Star Party.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there so bad. I actually missed it this year. I want to go so bad, but I have never seen the Milky Way in my life. And I went to West Virginia recently, and it's so dark down there. Cloudy, of course, because cloudy Ohio then brings the cloudiness to West Virginia because I'm down there, right? But yeah.
Yeah, I there's a great place in West Virginia. If you go back, Spruce Knob, is that where you went? It's like
Webster Springs.
Oh, okay. Spruce Knob is actually darker than Cherry Springs. It's a really cool place in West Virginia if you ever go back.
All right, that sounds cool, but yeah, like I don't know why. I've heard I don't think they're like the 8th cloudiest state, or are we the 8th cloudiest?
Oh, maybe yeah. I've had
I think it changed.
Fairly good luck, but it's it's even some nights it's just like you get patches of clear and then it's cloudy for half the night or something like that.
Yeah, have you ever went any? I know you. What dark site do you go to, Eric? Is it called the Big Cypress or something?
Yeah, it's called Big Cypress Preserve is where I go. So it's towards Alligator Alley. It's out there in
exactly alligators. Yeah, oh, speaking of that, me and Eric actually. Oh yeah, speaking of that, me and Eric actually went down to I think was that where we went, the Big Cypress?
Yeah, that's where we went when you were just getting started.
Yeah, yeah, I was so dumb. I just took planetary images. Why the heck take planetary images into dark site? But because there's no use there. But I went down there. I got bit all over me. Mosquitoes bites all over me. It was awful.
Yeah, that was a bad experience. But I was hoping to take him down there for his first dark side experience, and we got eaten to death. But I learned my lesson. Don't go there during the summer, so that's why I'm kind of not going.
Put some bug spray on.
Because
that'll cure that knot.
We're just kind of gonna have to wait till it cools off. But where have you been? That's a really good dark site that you recommend going to? Because there's somewhere in the States that you like, any favorite place that you like?
Death Valley was amazing if you're ever out, in Nevada or California. Around the Northeast. I mean, you guys are in Ohio. I'm not. I guess Cherry Springs would probably be closer than any place I go out here. But I'm in Massachusetts, so I usually am going up to New Hampshire or out to the coast, like Cape Cod or Rhode Island. It's one thing I've found is a lot of people think, oh well, it's I live in Boston, so it's like, oh, people think it's impossible to find any dark sites. But if I just drive a couple hours, there's actually a lot around. You just have to sort of scout them out and know where to look. And it's definitely possible, I think, anywhere in the U.S. to find dark sites within a couple hours drive.
Well, that was it for today's event. We look forward to doing one in the future, and hope you enjoyed this live stream today. And until next time, clear skies.
Clear skies.
Clear skies, guys.